Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. And we are here with an update to the Aniah Blanchard story. That I brought to you guys in my last video. And then I have two more people. We have another college student that is missing, and we have another little girl who is missing. And basically, what I'm doing is I'm bringing you guys information on black girls, teenagers, children that are, missing, abducted, who have been murdered, and just trying to keep these stories in the forefront because so often we get overlooked as black women and black girls when these things are happening. And so it's a sad occasion to talk about, but I'm also happy that the media is starting to focus more on these stories. And one thing that I forgot to put in my last video was that there's 64,000 black girls that are missing in the United States currently. And I had meant to go and research that figure because it was something that had came up on my Facebook page and I never did click on the link. And so I'm going to go back and find that post, and then I'll come back and do another video talking about that number and where that number comes from. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So the update on Aniah Blanchard is that they now have a person of interest that they have issued a warrant for. And so it says the person of interest in the disappearance of 18-year-old Aniah Blanchard is now considered a suspect and wanted on a kidnapping warrant. And so Abraham Yazid, he's 30 years old and from Montgomery, Alabama, and he is still at large. And you guys remember there was a video clip in the last video, and I'll drop the link above to that video if you want to go check it out. But it showed Aniah in a convenience store or a gas station store. And so the video was very short. And you could see that somebody walked into the store behind her, but then the video cuts off. So you only see the person's like from the thigh down. And so I had said in that video, I wonder if that is a person of interest, and that's why they cut that video off. That the police are probably trying to find out who that person was. So it says anyone with information regarding Yazid's whereabouts should call 911 immediately. And here is a picture of him from when he was in the store, and then also a picture of a mugshot of him. So he obviously has a arrest record. Press release from the Auburn Police Department, and it says the Auburn Police Division has identified the person of interest as Abraham Yazid, 30 years of age, from Montgomery, Alabama. A warrant has been obtained for his arrest for the charge of kidnapping in the first degree. Currently, the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force, along with other agencies assisting in this investigation, are actively searching for Yazid. Yazid is currently out on bond for the charges of kidnapping and attempted murder from another jurisdiction. He should be considered dangerous and potentially armed. So remember in the case that I talked about with the little girl, I think it was the Nevaeh Adams from South Carolina, and remember her mom, Sheree Bradley, had been murdered, and they were both murdered at the same time. But the guy in that case, his name is Duarte Johnson, and he killed the mother and then killed the little girl and threw her body into the trash can, and then it ended up at a landfill, and it took over a month for them to dig through all this trash to find her. And so in that case, he killed Navia's mom, and then he also had killed another young lady named Aaliyah in another state. And so this seems to be like a similar situation here. So it says his charges stems from the investigation of the disappearance of Aniah Haley Blanchard between Wednesday, October 23rd, 2019, and Thursday, October 24th, 2019. Further investigation and analysis of evidence has determined that Yazid was at the same location Blanchard was last seen and is involved in taking Aniah against her will. Additional charges and arrests are anticipated. Anyone with information regarding her whereabouts or having information on this case is asked to call the Auburn Police Division Detective Section at 334-501-3140. Central Alabama Crime Stoppers at 334-215-STOP, and 24-hour non-emergency number at 334-501-3100. So that's the update on Aniah. They still have not found her. They do believe, based on what they gathered, the evidence they gathered from the car, that she has been harmed. They haven't said what that evidence is, but most likely it's blood and signs of some type of struggle in the car. They did locate her car, I think a couple of days after she went missing, and so it had been damaged over the passenger side, like the fender over the tire, and then that was damaged, and then I believe there was damage to the tire. Next, we're going to talk about Alexis Crawford. So Alexis Crawford, she's 21 years old. She's a college student, senior at Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta. And she's been missing since October 30th. And so her family and friends are desperate, to find her. They say it's unlike her to just leave and not say anything. And they say that every single day somebody from their family talks to her, and the fact that a week has passed by and nobody has heard anything from her is so out of character. And so they believe that she's been abducted, or something has happened to her. So the backstory on this is Alexis Crawford last spoke to her family on October 30th. She was last seen later that night in her off-campus apartment by a roommate. According to the roommate, they gave Alexis a ride to a liquor store, and she came back later that night. It sounded like the roommate dropped her off at the liquor store. She came back to the apartment around 12:30 in the morning on October 31st, but the roommate says that when they got up to leave for class that morning, that Alexis was gone, but they say that there was a deadbolt lock on the door, and that the deadbolt was locked. However, Alexis' keys were found in her room, so I thought that was kind of suspect. So it says on Tuesday, the police released a surveillance photo of Crawford taken in a business before she disappeared. So I think that kind of corroborates the roommate's story that she had taken her to the store. And so Crawford's roommate told police she saw Crawford around midnight before going to bed. Before going to bed, Crawford was not in the apartment the next morning when the roommate left for class, and the front door was locked with a deadbolt. Crawford's sister said they communicated around 8:44 p.m. on October 30th, and that Crawford asked her sister what she planned to do over the weekend, and the sister told her nothing, and she said that Crawford didn't respond to text messages after that. And then Crawford's mother told police that her daughter was in good spirits and laughing when they last spoke on October 30th. And Crawford's family, they didn't report her missing until November 1st. And you guys, from that last video that I did, I talk about, the time frame. And, as soon as you realize that somebody is missing, the police want you to call them immediately. Like, don't sit around and wait to see if they're going to call or if they're going to show up. If you feel that something, if you feel like something is out of place, is out of order, then they want you to call them immediately, because they would rather you call and it not be an issue than for you, to wait days to pass and then they don't have an opportunity to look into it. And then I know, like in a lot of places, they say that police won't investigate until the person has been missing for 24 hours. And then because she is 21 years old, I don't know if the police would react in the same way as they would if a child, you called in and said that a child was missing. Atlanta police responded to a missing persons call at Crawford's apartment not far from the Clark Atlanta campus. Crawford's Apple iPhone identification and debit card were missing from the apartment. Her phone charger and keys were found inside of the apartment on the end table by the couch, according to the police report. And it says the family said they suspect something is wrong because at least one family member talks to Crawford every day. And it didn't matter like how busy she was, what was going on. She would always make time to talk to her family when they called. And so she's a senior at Clark Atlanta, and she's one of 10 children. And so it says, I just want you to come home, and be safe. And I hope God's walking with you. Her sister Alexandria tearfully told police on Monday. Crawford's brother, Derek Carter, appealed to Atlanta residents, saying, can you just please help me find my sister? And then let her know, Alexis, if you're out there, I love you. Crawford is described as a black female who stands about 5 feet 3 inches. And her family members said that she was wearing either a black t-shirt or black hoodie and a cheetah print headscarf when they last saw her on a FaceTime conversation. Clark Atlanta University has not responded to reporters or to haven't given any public statement as to what is going on or anything like that. And that was on Tuesday, so they may have come forward by now with a statement. And so the police released a image of her in this store, and she actually had on a pink hoodie with some white writing across the front. And so the family is saying when they last FaceTime with her, which would have been right before she went to the store, I believe, they said that she was wearing the black hoodie. So not sure if she changed clothes or what happened. But if you are in Atlanta and you see this young woman or you have information, they are asking that you please contact the police and let them know. And a lot of times people have information, but they don't think it's important, or that it doesn't, connect to anything that's going on. But you would be amazed at how many crimes are solved because somebody finally called the police and said, on such and such day, I did see this and it seemed out of the ordinary. So if you have any information, regardless of how irrelevant you may think it is, you should go ahead and call the police and let them know what you know. And the business that they say she was in, they don't say whether it was a gas station or a store, but they said it was located at 595 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard in Southwest Atlanta. And they're saying that this is the last anybody saw her before she disappeared. And then also they say she's 5'3", but they also said that she weighs like 150 pounds. And then also I'm going to post these images for you guys, but the girl that the image of her in the store looks different from the images that the family presented. So I don't know, that might be confusing to people because, and then it's a good thing that they did release this image from the store, because if you were looking at these other pictures that the family was posting, you'd probably be like, okay, I didn't see that girl. But this, more current picture may spark something in somebody's mind, and they have information that they can come forward with. The other story is about a little girl by the name of And so this happened in Jacksonville, and you guys know I live here in Florida. So we got this Amber Alert, and I'm like, my God, not again. So I open up the Amber Alert, and it is a little black girl who has gone missing. And so it says that the Jacksonville community and law enforcement has been desperately searching for Taylor Rose Williams since she first was reported missing Wednesday, since she went missing on, or was reported missing on Wednesday morning. And then here's a timeline of events. So yesterday at about 7:22 a.m., it says that Navy Petty Officer Brianna Williams called the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to report her daughter Taylor Rose Williams was missing. Williams tells officers she saw her daughter in bed around midnight Wednesday in their home on Ivy Street in the Brentwood neighborhood of Jacksonville. But when she woke the next morning, Taylor was gone and the back door of the home was unlocked. So then at 9:21, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement issued a missing child alert. Then around 10 o'clock yesterday, volunteers started searching for the little girl. And so they helped spread the word with flyers. They searched bushes, abandoned homes. They scoured through the woods and drove through streets, calling out her name, trying to see, like thinking that this little girl really did wander off in the middle of the night. And so then at 10:30 in the morning yesterday, the police said that it's very urgent that we find her as quickly as possible and that we'll work until we can't work anymore. And so authorities say that there was no sign of foul play in the house where Taylor was reported missing, and everyone in the house looked normal. And so then at 11:24, an Amber Alert was issued for Taylor. She's described as 3 feet tall, weighing 50 pounds, with brown eyes and black hair. And she was last seen wearing a purple shirt, pink pajama pants, and that she had wore to bed, and that she's believed to be in danger. Then at 11:30 yesterday, it was confirmed that dozens of JSO, which I think is Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, officers are also searching the Southside Villas apartment complex on Southside Boulevard, where the family of Taylor lived before moving to Brentwood just days before she was reported missing. And then at 2:30, a lady came forward named Tiffany Nicole, who says that she was hired by Brianna Williams, which is Taylor's mom, to help Williams move. And she said that she and her fiance packed up several items at the Southside apartment on Saturday afternoon during a move to the Ivy Road address where Taylor was reported last seen. And then it says, according to Nicole, the child's mother was behaving strangely and that she never saw Taylor. And so then at 3 p.m., the JSO dive teams arrived at the apartment complex on the south side. Soon after, officers could be seen searching through trash from a dumpster that was taken from the complex. And the reason they were going through this dumpster and probably went out to the landfill is because Nevaeh Adams was found in a landfill, and one of the other little girls that I covered was also found in a dumpster. Was it the Camille? I think it was the Camille McKinney girl was found in a dumpster, in a landfill. I know 2 of the 5 girls that I covered in my last video, their bodies had been dumped in the dumpster, and then by the time the police got to it, the dumpster had been picked up and taken to the landfill and dumped, and then they had to scour through all this trash. So then at 4:50 yesterday, a tow truck removed a car from the family's home in Brentwood. Then later on, it says that we're concerned, but we are going to search, and we're going to continue to search throughout the night. And so it was all on the news yesterday here, where you could see the dive teams were in this lake, and they were like, it was like a canal or something, and they were in there and they were searching for her. And then it said that, they were going to continue overnight, and so they were out there looking for this little girl. So they obviously believe that the mother has probably done something to her. And so then on this morning, it says that the home where Taylor was reportedly last seen around midnight Tuesday remained taped off Thursday morning as dozens of officers continued a massive search for the missing girl. And then at 10 a.m., it says a large JSO presence continued to search on the Southside apartment complex. Around 3:45, it came out that the police had brought out cadaver dogs, and the dogs went to the mother's car, so they smelt something. And the cadaver dogs, they find deceased people, and so something in that car triggered them. So now the mother is definitely a suspect in all of this. And then it says that Taylor Rose Williams' mother has stopped cooperating. So before she was, interviewing with the police, answering questions, but then when those cadaver dogs found a scent in the car, she stopped cooperating with investigators. And it says that Williams says that Brianna Williams is not in custody or under arrest, but she stopped answering questions when detectives pointed out inconsistencies with her story. And Williams says that it's unclear the last time anyone other than the mother has seen Taylor Williams alive, and asked anyone who has seen Brianna Williams and her daughter together in the last 6 months to call 904-630-0500. And then it says that my hope is that we find her alive. Then at 4:15, it says that Maurice Tate, the father of Taylor Williams, who lives in Alabama, it's like all roads keep leading back to Alabama, told News 4 Jacksonville that it had been a while since he had seen Taylor. And Tate also said that a detective from the JSO was on their way to talk to him. So the Tiffany Nicole woman who says that she was at the apartment and helped the mother move, she actually did an interview with First Coast News. And so according to her, her and her fiance responded to a Craigslist ad from a Jacksonville woman who needed help moving from the south side to Brentwood on Sunday. And then the ad that Nicole said was placed by Brianna Williams. Nicole said that Williams agreed to pay her and her fiance $250 to move from Paradise Island Apartments near Southside Boulevard and Bay Meadows Road to a home in the 600 block of Ivy Street in Brentwood. Nicole said when she arrived at the apartment complex, the door to Williams' unit was partially open, and she says, I went to knock, and that's when Miss Brianna opened the door. The strange thing that was off to me was she told me and my fiance there was a daughter in the bathroom and we heard water running. Her behavior was off. We never saw a child. We did load up a pink and purple toddler bed. So they're still searching for the little girl. The mother is not cooperating. And based on, what the police are saying, that they're looking for people that going all the way back 6 months. So they don't know if the girl was recently turned up missing or if she's been missing for a while. And my speculation would be that somebody has contacted the police after this story broke and said, we haven't seen this little girl in a long time. It doesn't say how long the mother and the father have been living in separate places. And I believe that the mother is actually in the military or something, because it seemed like one article that I read, it gave her like a military title with her name. And so there is a military base in Jacksonville or outside of Jacksonville. I think it's a naval base outside of Jacksonville. But I'll have to research that for you guys. But it's crazy. Like if you don't want your kids, find somebody who does want them. Like don't be killing your kids. And in each one of these stories that I did, even the 5 that I did, there was always a father somewhere around. And then these mothers have the children, and whatever goes on in there. They're either not paying attention when the child is abducted, or they were part of the abduction and eventual murder. So we're sending up our prayers for Aniah, for Alexis Crawford, and this little girl, Taylor Williams, that she is found. Just a sad situation that this is. It just seems like, I don't know if it's because the media is focusing on it more, or if people are just more demonic, and that they're taking things out on these kids. And human trafficking is a real thing when it comes to these older people, the 19-year-old Aniah and 21-year-old Alexis. So you never know what's really going on. But guys, that's it for me. Wanted to give you that update, and then to share these two news stories with you. And as more information come about, I will come back and give you updates. So go ahead, leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.